I asked my subscribers to suggest me some manga, and I also added the weirder the better. I thought it'd be fun to see what you guys would suggest to me. I'm ready to get into it if you guys are. Let's start this video off on the right foot with... If my wife became an elementary school student? I think that's my cue to leave. Hey, where do you think you're going, Buster? Sit your butt back down right now. Alright, sheesh. I'm sorry, if I'm getting put on an FBI watch list for making this video, you're getting put on one for watching it. Alright. Now calm down. Okay? I'm sure it was just a mistranslation. It wasn't. The premise of If My Wife Became an Elementary School Student is probably what you might gather from its super vague title. When a man's wife turns into a grade schooler, they try to navigate this problem and find a solution. Even though the solution is pretty clear-cut. It's divorce or jail time, my friend. Okay, the manga is a little bit deeper than that, and it does pose an interesting question. Stick with me! You see, the wife in question doesn't just randomly de-age. She died and was reincarnated. One day, while walking home from school, a young girl walks past an apartment complex, and suddenly memories of her previous life come rushing back into her mind. She lived there. She was a mother, a wife. So of course she knocks on the door and announces herself as Nijima Take, the wife of this man. Naturally, he doesn't believe this random girl at first, but when Take starts listing off things about their relationship that only they know, there's no doubt in his mind that she is who she says. Take took this opportunity to check in on them because she was worried about her daughter, Mai, and her husband. And she was right to be. Since Take's passing, the relationship between Mai and Mr. Nijima has been in limbo, and Mai hasn't been able to progress very much in her life at all. The love of your life, the woman you've loved for over a decade, you can't imagine living life without her, dies. But one day she returns to you as a child decades later. What do? They come up with schemes and weekly schedules to help them keep in contact as a family, even though Take is now, as she puts it, the child of another family. In the early chapters, I found its message to be kinda contradicting itself. Like, Take returns after a decade, seeing that her family hasn't moved on from her death and is stuck in this depression. They only start to get out of this rut thanks to her return. I don't know, the idea that the only way for this family to move on from their loss was essentially to get back what was lost returned to them via a strange miracle with a slight caveat seems to be a weird message to me. It seems like the family is healing, but it's not growth, it's a cheat. I wouldn't be getting so caught up in this aspect if the manga didn't bring up such topics. It could be a silly slice of life manga with wacky situations, which it does, it's just when it gets into these deeper and realer themes about loss and regret, it loses me a little. I suppose it's just hard for me to take it seriously. There are some extra chapters dedicated to Take and Mr. Nijima's relationship before Take passed away that I enjoy reading so much more. Alright, so I don't love how we started off this video by more or less recommending a manga called If My Wife Became an Elementary School Student, so let's move on to the next one. Rojica and Rakkasei is a manga that was so weird at first that I generally didn't understand what was going on. The first chapter was such a random sequence of events I was just left going, what the hell just happened? The first chapter follows these two, Rojica, a little thing, and Rakka, a human girl who actually is a character that feels the most out of place in the zany world that these two reside in. In the first chapter, they find a mysterious disc. The two go back and forth debating what it could be. A chair, a table, a flying disc. This goes on for a couple of pages until Isaac shows up, who explains to them that this disc is actually a vinyl record. It's made for listening to music. Excited by this news, Rakka enthusiastically asks how can they listen. Unfortunately, none of them have a gramophone. He calls it a relic of an ancient civilization. And that's not a joke about it being old, but rather that the Earth that we're used to is gone. This is actually a post-apocalyptic story told through the eyes of these blissfully ignorant characters who explore this new world that grew from the remains of the old one. This is goddamn adventure time. The manga follows Rojica and Rakka as they navigate this zany world, and there's something weird going on. I feel a little uneasy. Never mind that. Look, they're playing Twister for the first time. I'm tired of this. Let's finish. How exactly did this game end? I don't know. Are you kidding me? Isaac didn't explain to you? I forgot to ask. Sorry. Oh no. If there's no end, are we going to continue this dreadful existence for all eternity? Is this our final destiny? There's no way back. No, not yet. There's still a way to save us. And I'm through. There is nothing that doesn't end because you can end it yourself. He's a genius. First off, this is hilarious. But there's also something just a bit off, right? You feel it too, don't you? There's a darkness here. Something that's hiding behind this cute, cheery outer layer. Something that's trying to stay hidden. But that darkness, that always seems to be looming in the background, it makes this story pretty engaging. In another chapter, Rojica and Rakkasei hear wonderful things about the husband of a character named Masu-san. Then they both realize they actually have never met this husband, and neither has any one of their friends. When they decide to go visit Masu-san to thank her for the apple pie she baked them, they finally meet Masu-san's husband. Do you like them, dearie? His thoughts show up on this screen. They're always in such strange symbols I can never read them. But I'm sure they mean they're delicious. Thank you. Don't you think? Thanks to the translator of this manga, we know exactly what it says. Kill me. Each chapter, you're slowly peeling back that cutie, cheery outer layer I talked about and uncovering more of that darkness and learning more about this world, which makes you want to read one more chapter. And before you know it, it's over. I absolutely recommend this manga. Some chapters are really heartfelt and sad. Chapter 6, I'm looking at you. With the manga only being 25 chapters long, it doesn't ask for a huge time commitment either. Okay, that one was pretty good. I was worried after the first one. What's next? Oh no. This is just torture. One day, a high school class ventures off on a field trip on the high seas when their ship crashes. The surviving students end up on this deserted island. Lucky for them, there's some locals there. Just kidding. The locals are not friendly. Very not friendly. The first chapter of this manga literally introduced 18 characters. 18! And in some cases, they just introduced them with their name in this little text box, like, that's enough for me to care about them when they shipwreck on this island. Oh wait, the point of this manga isn't to care about them and hope they get out of the situation. The point is to just watch them go through these gruesome situations. If it was made to care about these characters, I'd imagine stomaching this manga would be a lot harder, so in that regard, it's honestly genius. Just introduce a bunch of nobodies and watch them suffer. The amount of panty shots in the first chapter is enough to make Jiraiya roll his eyes. I'm serious. Everything about this manga feels wrong. So if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna let the future me wrap this video up. Thanks. What happened? I was crying. Thank you to Ichiru, BW Panda, and Boogie Pop for recommending these manga. And thanks to everyone else who made a recommendation on the post as well. I only covered 3 in this video, so you can look forward to me covering some other weird manga in future ones too. You guys left a lot of weird ones. I have like a whole list of them now, and I'm excited to go through them. Thanks again. Until next time, later will be greater.